So, there we go. Another stream. I'm streaming on a Thursday today, which is kind of an odd day. It's not what I stream normally. We're just gonna wait for the people to come in. Okay, so it's working. In my dashboard in Restream it didn't show YouTube was connected, but it actually works. So yeah, I'm doing another live stream. You might hear the rain on my window, but yeah, we're just gonna produce today. I'm also gonna stream tomorrow, by the way. I just want to do a random stream tonight. I've been working on a little track thingy today, and yeah, I'm just gonna work on this bit tonight, and yeah, I thought, why not just stream it, you know? So, yeah, let's just welcome all the people that are coming in. Who the fucks? Like your name, dude. Anyway, welcome to the stream, guys. I'm gonna be working on this little clip today. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly test something real quick, because YouTube shows that it's not receiving the video very well. So I'm gonna try changing something in the settings and hope that the stream doesn't crash, and if not, I'll just restart the stream. So if anything happens right now and you guys have an issue, then let me know. I just changed something in the settings in OBS, so might do something with the stream, but I'm not sure. If anything is wrong, just let me know. If you guys want to be part of a music production community, check out the Discord link in the description below the stream. It's a cool place where we talk about music production every day, and it's also a place where you can stay up to date every time I go live on Twitch or YouTube. So we're again streaming on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so I hope everything goes right, but last time it went alright, so yeah, that's good. So I was working on this bit earlier today, and I'm actually quite liking it. I'm not too sure yet about the chords, if I want it with the chords or not, but yo, the Sad Moon, welcome to the stream. You're the first person to comment on Twitch in this stream. That's pretty cool. Most of the people so far have been commenting on YouTube, but I'm streaming on both of the platforms at the same time, so that's actually pretty awesome. I'm really liking that, by the way. Is this going to be a sound design or a song structure stream? Probably a bit of both. I'm gonna be working on this drop a bit more, and I'm actually gonna try come up with maybe a build-up or an intro. Something that fills this entire gap right here. I'm actually gonna do a 1.5 minute intro. That's quite long, so I really have space to do something melodic in the intro, let's say for the first 32 bars, and then go into something less melodic. And actually in this build-up I'm also gonna start doing that building motion that we have with these chords. That's actually gonna happen here in the build-up as well, which is, I think it's gonna work pretty well. But we have a lot of space because we have a long intro on this track, so we can actually do a lot of stuff here, maybe melodic wise, or I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how that goes. Other than that, yeah, I might do some sound design as well. I definitely have to work on this track a bit more. There's some stuff and there's some gaps in here that need to be filled up, especially here in the end. And in this section here in the end, there's not even a single bass sound going on right there. See, there's just that large gap. We need to fill that up some wise. I don't know with what yet, but we'll see. Same for the part here at the end. There's no bass going on. See, it's just completely empty. So we need to do something there. Now, if there's anything you want to ask about what I did so far, I'll happily show you what I did. So if there's anything you want to know, just let me know in the comments or in the chat, and I'll show you it. I'll get back to it. So, let's see, what can we do? We should definitely work on that on the last section. That's something that needs an element, that's for sure. This little transition here with the drums, it doesn't sound too bad actually, because we have the drum fill going on, so that actually just works. Do you make anything other than neuro? I do make other stuff than neuro. It's just that I'm working on a Neurofunk EP, so that's why I'm mostly doing Neurofunk at the moment. But I do make other stuff. I have released Glitch Hop EP, I've released dubstep stuff in the past. I've even done Electro House, and I used to make a lot of hip hop beats. So yeah, I did a lot of different stuff. I even made Gabber when I first started out making music. But at the moment I'm just doing Neurofunk because that's what I'm trying to release next. I might also try some more breakbeat or halftime stuff, but I think Neurofunk is definitely what I'm doing at the moment. It's what I like making the most at this moment. So let's see. I would like to know how you made that beat punchy. I'll get into that in a minute. If we get to sound design, do you think you could show us some FM8? Loving the streams, by the way, big ups. We might be able to do FM8. We might be able to make a bass for this last section in FM8. That could maybe work. I'm not sure. I might do Serum, but I might also do Heaven Made. We'll first try Heaven Made and see if that works, and if not, we'll go with Serum or maybe using a sample. I'm also really getting into Contact lately. I'm using a few instances of Contact, I think, in this particular track. I'm not sure. I had an instance of Contact, but I might have flattened it. Yeah, I flattened it. Oh no, I have an instance of Contact for the main res. I'm really liking Contact at the moment for resampling bass sounds. It's absolutely, well, really good for that. This sound was also done in Contact. It's a little fill bass. I basically used an audio file and just took a little section and added some pitch modulation to get that sound. And I also used the filters in Contact, which are really great, by the way. I might be able to show you some. Now for the beat. The beat is actually pretty punchy. I know it sounds pretty punchy. Let's just listen to the beat by itself. And it's mostly just about the arrangement, actually. It's mostly about, of course, the samples itself need to be good. That's the first step, always. But the arrangement of this particular drum loop really makes it. Without the percussion, it loses a lot of its punch. I mean, those are still punchy drum hits, don't get me wrong, but the groove, you know, the rhythm that really makes this particular drum loop is completely lost when you completely bypass the percussion group. But these main drum hits are still pretty punchy, so let's focus on the kick. The kick drum is actually pretty beefy. Now it's made up out of 3 layers, and it's actually pretty simple. This is the main kick. So that's pretty much the kick drum right there. I've only added a little bit of EQ. And that's really subtle. You might not even hear it if you're not listening on headphones. I'm just slightly changing the high end on it, but to be honest, the main kick drum in this particular track is just that sample. There might be, there is some processing going on the group itself. If I turn that off, and I can also turn the saturator off on here. And there's a glue compressor here, which is not really doing anything, so I'll let that turn on. And I have these return tracks are also doing a little bit to the drum. So this is actually the kick drum sample without any processing to it. So I'm just slightly changing the high end on that. And then I have this other layer here, which is just a really weird sound. It used to be that kick drum. I flipped the phase with the utility. I completely flipped the phase around, and I made everything below 120 Hz mono. And then I'm not even sure why I did the mono thing, because I'm actually high passing it with this one, so it doesn't really make a change. I mean, it's pretty much identical, but I'm then just rolling off the low end and boosting the high end a little. But that kick drum, or that layer, which is just it used to be a kick drum. If I play only the drums, it's just adding a slight little bit to the kick drum. It's really subtle again. But it changes the transient of the kick ever so slightly. And then finally I have this really quiet white noise layer in there, which is actually sampled from the Amen break. It used to be part of a much bigger break. I think it still is, yeah. It's part of it, part of this longer break. I think it's the Amen, I'm not even sure. But it looks to be from the title right there. So but that's just a really slight amount of noise that's being added on each kick. It's again really subtle. Then on the kick group, I'm making everything below 120 Hz mono. That slightly changes the low end, makes the low end sound a little bit tighter. And then I'm doing this pretty crazy EQ curve, which makes the kick drum sound pretty muffled from what it was. But that's actually what I was going for in this track. Then we have a transient shaper. I think it's, yeah, it's just making the release, the tail of the kick drum, a slight amount shorter. Because there was a little bit of a low end bump going on after each kick played, so the transient shaper just makes it a little bit shorter. I just cuts it off slightly earlier, which I think worked well. And then a glue compressor, which is bringing the volume back up. And then we have the main snare drum. Let me bring that up before we go into the group stuff. Let me turn everything on the snare group off as well. And then we have these 3 samples for the snare, so that's again made up out of 3 samples. That's the main snare right there. There's not any processing on the snare at all. I haven't even EQ'd this one. And then we have this pretty interesting vocal layer. This used to be a vocal. So we have this sound, which is a really weird sound, don't get me wrong. And it used to be this sample, let's see. That's the sample. I pitched it down, so the original sample is this. And I just pitched it down and added some fades to create that. And then we really scooped out just a band of frequencies. That's the band that I wanted to layer on the snare. So it turns it into that. A little bit of reverb. Because it was quite dry. And then I'm rolling off just a little bit of the high end, which I'm not even sure is doing that much, but we'll just keep it there. And that on the snare already made it creates an interesting tail to the snare drum. We had that, and that's what we got, which just, well, it's a little bit more interesting. And then again, I'm using another cut from that same Amen break, really high passed again. It's just a hi-hat actually, and that's layered on the snare to give the snare a little bit more high end. I'm not even sure if you can hear it that well, but it's really subtle. And then on the group of the snare, a little bit of EQ to bring out the transient a bit, the fundamental, which is pretty much the tone of the snare, which creates the body. And then we have a little bit of compression. Then we have a frequency shifter, and this frequency shifter, you can really see it well if I turn the EQ on after it. You can see that the fundamental of this snare is pretty high up in the frequencies. So it sits about there, which is, I would say, probably about 250, 260 Hertz, which is fine, but I found it to be a little bit too high for this particular track. So I wanted to bring the fundamental frequency down, but I didn't really want to bring the high end down too much, because that's what normally happens when you pitch something down. So what I did is I used a frequency shifter, because a frequency shifter will shift the fundamental frequency down more than the actual higher harmonics. So when you bring the frequency here, the fine frequency down, you can really see that the fundamental frequency is moving down a lot more than the high end does. So it sits around here. And if I turn this on, it sits about 250 Hertz. So we could bring it down even further. Now you can really see it. But I wanted it pretty much on 250, which is about there. And then we have a final saturator, which really bringing the volume up. Then on the group here, I have another saturator basically just squeezing even more volume out of the kick and snare. And that's really making it punchy. On this group there's a little compressor, but it's not really doing anything. It's just there in case anything goes above 0 dB, it just cuts it off. Then we have a final reverb here, which is on the snare. So that is being added to the snare. It's actually a Valhalla plate on the snare chamber preset. And I've added a gate after it, which is basically cutting off the reverb to make it shorter. Because without the gate we would get a really long tail, and I don't want that, so I just made it shorter. And then we have that little high passing going on, because we don't need that stereo low end, just need that. So that's being added to the snare. Just adds a tilt to the snare, which I think is nice. And then we have a another track here, which is a Waves SSL compressor, and I've really set it up at the lowest threshold setting, and I brought the makeup gain up all the way, attack is all the way down, and release is all the way down as well, so I'm really getting the most amount of compression possible. And then I'm scooping out pretty much a lot of the mids and a little bit of the high end and a little bit of the sub. Really just shaping the sound of this compressor. This actually sounds pretty compressed. And I'm mixing that back into the original drum loop. And it's again pretty subtle, but I find that it really brings out the punch in the sound as well, because you're making everything quite loud, and that's pretty much what you want if you make loud music. If you make this energetic kind of music, you kind of want to make your drums pretty loud. Your drums should be up front in the mix, and I definitely think that's what's going on right now. So let's see if the stream is still going right. It looks like it's still going right. Okay, that's good. So yeah, that's the drums basically, and then we have the percussion, and the percussion really makes it interesting. So the percussion is actually still pretty simple. The main thing in the percussion group would be this sound, which is kind of again like a vocal sound, but I just processed it a bit, so it sounds like that. It's being distorted with Isotope Trash, and then we have some reverb on it and a little bit of more distortion with the saturator, and that hits on every first kick. So with that hit we get, and that really adds a lot of impact to that first kick drum, because that's, I find, especially with such heavy drops in neurofunk or drum and bass in general, it's really hard to get that first initial hit of the drop to sound really big, because that's what what I hear a lot. You hear so many tracks that have this epic big build-up, and you're expecting this huge drop, and then they have a pretty big drop, but just that first initial hit lacks a lot of impact, and therefore the drop loses a lot of energy. And I find that really just adding such small little sounds on the first hit, and at the same time carving out space by removing a lot of other elements, that's how you create an impact that really has a lot of energy. Thanks for the follow, Kneet, whatever you say your name. Thanks for the follow, man. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, that's really how you create a lot of impact. You gotta create space for that energy to happen, but you also need something that just hits every first kick drum of every section. So you can see it just comes back every section, and in the full mix you don't necessarily hear it that well, but it still adds something to that first hit, and I think that's really important. It makes that first kick drum different from all the other kick drums, and therefore it sounds, well, heavier maybe in a way. That is then reinforced by a simple closed hat. So Really, that's all it is. There's not even an EQ on it.
Riggedy, riggedy, wrecked, son!
And thanks for the follow, Falek, Takeshi. Thanks, man. We could actually just high pass that because there's actually a bit of low end in it that we don't need. So with the other sound, that's pretty much what it was. Then I have this other hi-hat. And you might notice the really obnoxious EQ curve right there. Let me turn that off. This is the hi-hat I started with. So it has quite a bit of low end, but it has a lot of high end as well. It's really like a really short, techy hi-hat kind of thing. But I wanted to turn it into something a little bit more of a percussive sounding hi-hat. I'm not sure how to describe it. Something like a percussion sound. So I really added these two big ass boosts right there. And it turns it into that. Then we have this auto pan, which is creating a little bit of pumping motion. It just adds a little bit of motion to this otherwise static hi-hat. And then another final EQ, which is carving out the mids. Or actually the low end. And that already made the drums sound a little bit more interesting. So with the main drums, so that makes it sound a lot more interesting. And then I have this final break. And I maybe should actually sidechain this to the main kick and snare to make some room for the main kick and snare, because these main kick and snare transients are pretty loud. And I might think they're actually starting to distort the main kick and snare, but I'm not sure. We'll try that out in a minute. And this was a bigger loop, actually. This loop used to sound like... let me unwarp it. This was the original loop. Without the EQing. See, that's a kind of... it's more like a breakbeat loop. I warped it with the beats mode, and I've set it to 1/16 notes, so it's basically just chopping this in 1/16. And I brought down the... what is that? The transient envelope right here, so it makes every hit a bit shorter. And then just EQ'd it to really, I don't know, take out the low end and take out the mids a lot and just leave a little bit of the high end. I'm rolling off a lot of the ultra highs because that might be a little bit ear piercing and we don't want that. Will the stream be available later? Yes, it will. The stream will always be available on my channel later. I actually noticed that I haven't posted the previous stream yet, but that stream will be coming probably tonight when I post this one as well. There's gonna be a stream tomorrow as well, guys, so don't think because I'm streaming today there won't be a stream tomorrow. There's actually gonna be a stream tomorrow as well, so tune in tomorrow if you want to see some more production. I'm going to be working on the triplet tune that I worked on a previous stream, a couple of streams back. So if you want to see that, tune in tomorrow as well. Now, kind of sounds like older Current Value. Maybe in a way. I mean, Current Value used to do a lot of these kind of drums. That's true. So yeah, that kind of, well, it probably is a little bit sounding like his older stuff, but I'm really just trying out something new here. I haven't really necessarily done a lot of... well, what I mean with trying something new, I'm really trying to get something more original out of my drum samples. Like what I'm doing here with the hi-hat, with the really big boost right there, turning it into almost like a percussive sound. That's something I don't necessarily do a lot. So for this track I really wanted to try something... Stay away from the normal... regular, you know, hi-hats and breaks, you know, stuff like that. I really wanted to try something more percussive in a way. So, yeah, that kind of works for this track. So, do you make EDM? I don't make EDM. Not the EDM that a lot of people call EDM these days, because EDM, for me at least, is basically electronic dance music. That's what EDM means to me. So in that case, yes, I do make EDM, because drum and bass is electronic dance music. But what everybody these days calls EDM, no, I don't make that. Just say you make music. Yeah, that's true. I do make music. I make a lot of different kinds of music, but today it's drum and bass. I thought he was working on one part of the song. That's awkward. Made me look really dumb. I am working on a part of a song actually, but I just only have this part. It's something I started today. So for all the people just tuning in, I'm gonna play the entire thing because everybody might wonder what this whole thing sounds like. It's just a start of a drop. That's what I've started right now, and I haven't really done too much work on it, but it sounds like this. So I think somebody asked for FM8, right? So we're gonna try make a bass in FM8. I've got this clip set up right here that hasn't got an instrument loaded yet. So let's just put an FM8 on there and see if we can make something. So FM8, let's see. FM8. Let's put that on there. Bit of reggae influences with the beat style, stressing the second and fourth beat. That's actually a characteristic element of drum and bass. I mean, and that's also why I like drum and bass a lot. You know, it's because in most electronic music the focus is pretty much on the 1 and the 3 usually. Sometimes even on the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So with house music and stuff like that, but with drum and bass, the focus is a lot more on the 2 snares, basically, so the second and the fourth, and I think that's a really interesting thing. That's why the rhythm, I think, to me at least, sounds a lot more interesting. Same counts for dubstep, by the way, although in dubstep I find that a lot of times, especially in the dubstep released right now, it's all just, you know, kick, snare, kick, snare. You know, do something a little bit more interesting if you're making dubstep. You know, do something like kick, snare, kick, 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 snare. You know, it's a little bit more interesting than doing that simple thing. But I guess it works because the dubstep stuff is pretty large as well. But I do find that that is a little bit easy at some points. But I find drum and bass really interesting, and normally this isn't even a regular drum and bass rhythm. Well, it is, but it's different than the straight up drum and bass rhythm that you would hear a lot, and that would sound pretty much like let's see, like a regular drum and bass pattern. That would be more something like this. Let me loop that section and remove these last kicks. This would be a regular drum and bass pattern. And I wanted to do something a bit different, so what I did is I really I shifted the kick drum so that it sits 1/16 before the snare, which is really short. So you get so it's really like, I don't know, it's a slightly different rhythm, and I think it's a little bit more original than that standard drum and bass pattern, because that's been done so many times already. And don't get me wrong, it's a good rhythm, and I might even use that rhythm in this particular track, let's say during the breakdown, or maybe during the second half of the drop. We might even go into that straight up drum and bass rhythm that I just showed you, but I think for the first half of the drop, that just works a little bit better. So, do we have something more? Do you use transient shapers? Yeah, I do. I do use transient shapers actually. I've used it on the kick drum here, just to make the kick drum a little bit shorter. But that's pretty much all I've done. I haven't done too much transient shaping on this particular drum loop, to be honest. Yes, I think the 1/16 can be off-putting, however, depending on how it sounds with all of it. Yeah, that's true. I think it works because we have that long sustained bass going on. We don't really have a percussive bass in that particular part of the track. We just have that long bass, so it kind of works because it's rising in pitch as well. And actually, I think that little 1/16 note gap, that little 1/16 note gap that it comes in later, I think that actually works really well because you expect that kick drum to hit 1/16 note earlier because that's the most straightforward drum and bass rhythm. So you're expecting that to happen, but it doesn't. So I think that's a little, you know, something that throws the listener off just a little bit, and it's just enough to make the listener a little bit more interested. That's just the idea behind it. It's more funky with the kick there. Yeah, see, I could actually make it sound even more funky by going full on triplets, and that's what I tried earlier, but I didn't really like it. I didn't really I like the pace that it has right now with that really fast hi-hat. Especially this one, that really fast hi-hat going on in the background, and when it is on triplets it sounds funkier, but it doesn't necessarily sound better. So yeah, that's just what I came up with. Now for that bass sound, Evermade is loaded right now. Let's see if we can make something. So Evermade is pretty cool, I have to say, but it's a pretty hard plugin to get, well, to grasp. What I always do when I start Evermade is I bring the volume up here to 100, so we just get the full-on volume of Evermade. And I also enable all these key sync switches because I like my sounds to be the same every time they play, so that I know what to expect. You know, when these are not turned on, it starts to phase on random positions of each waveform of each oscillator, and that might throw the sound off, especially if you do a lot of distortion. Then it might actually completely screw up the distorted sound, and that's not what you want. So let's see, we have a clip right here. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so I'm going to turn on Portamento, and I'm gonna bring that time up, I think, a little bit. I'm also gonna switch it to mono. Let's bring the amount of voices to 1. You might hear a little click. That's the sidechain compression. I'm doing the sidechain compression with the multiband dynamics right now. So you might hear a little click. Let me just turn the sidechaining off for now. So first thing I need to do is bring this down because we are way too high up in pitch. That's better. The Bonsai asks, what break sample? The sample I'm using here, let's see, this one, it's called HP Alert. That's the break. Wait, I can do this. Show in browser. That break is part of a drum pack called Half Price Believe. It's a drum and bass break sample pack that I got a really long time ago. I don't even think I bought it. I don't even think it's it's a premium sample pack. I think it's just a pack that somebody posted on a forum a long time ago. It's just how many? It's about 15 different breaks, but they're all pretty much the same drum loop, just different sounds. But these breaks sound really dirty, right? So they sound really heavy and really dirty right from the sample immediately when you drag it in. So I find that really nice, and the shuffle in these breaks is really good. You know, that little shuffle going on right there. I really like that. It sounds really good, especially because of the saturation on this drum loop. But yeah, I think it's a pack somebody posted on a forum a while back. It's called Health Price, and health is spelled with PH on the end. So it's not H-A-L-F, but it's H-A-L-P-H, and then price. So yeah, if you can find that on the internet, that would be pretty impressive, because I think I've had this on my hard drive for over 10 years. So but if you can find it, that would be great. It's a cool little pack. Will I be able to watch this again? Yes, this stream will be on my channel, like always. So back to the bass. I want to make a little bass sound here. I'm not sure what to do yet. I have this MIDI clip set up with a pitch bend as well. So let's go into FM8 and let's set the first oscillator to a saw wave. That way at least we have a little bit more harmonics going. I'm gonna go to the pitch tab, and here I'm gonna make the pitch bend go 12 down. That's a little bit better. And I want to add a little bit of movement to this, so I'm gonna feed operator E into it, and let's see if we can make some movement on this one. And I don't like it at the start, but I like what it's doing at the end, so let's do. And the pitch bend every now and then is doing some stuff that is pretty annoying. Anyway, let's feed something else into it and see what we can do. Maybe this one. See, that's pretty cool. That gives a nice upper harmonics to it. Let's run the noise oscillator into E and see what happens with that. So I'm gonna use the noise right here. I'm gonna bring the amp up a little bit. It adds a good amount of noise to it. That's pretty nice. It's a cool little effect. So with the drums, let's see how that particular pitch bend automation sounds. See, it's way too quiet, but I think the pitch movement kind of works. I might want to do a little bit more pitch movement on it. Like, maybe I want to do 24 semitones. We'll see how that sounds. So on the effects tab, maybe we can add a little bit of distortion with the tube, maybe. I'm also gonna add a little bit of overdrive. Maybe a little bit of chorus. A bit less. Just making it sound a little bit wider. I quite like what that oscillator is doing. Oscillators in FM8 are actually called operators, but I usually just call them oscillators. Adds a little bit of a more fuzzy sound to it. So I would say this is pretty much good for the start of the sound. We could maybe do something with the pitch envelope. Let's see, this is 1/8, so I would say 2/8, and then we want it to go up. I don't want it to loop. Okay. A little bit less. And let's hear that without the pitch movement going completely weird. We can probably work with that. So let's just add some distortion to it because it sounds a little bit weak at the moment. Okay, that kind of works. Maybe a little bit more chorus, but now in the high end, which this does. And a little bit less. I think I'm gonna automate that chorus a little bit as well, so that it comes up in this section, becomes a little bit heavier, and then goes back down. Maybe we need some low pass movement on here as well. Maybe something going down and then coming back up. I think I'm gonna put it on F first so that it and then it should go down on the end again. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about this sound. Let's try another instance of this. Let's just try making one in Serum and see which one we like more. That could just work. Or we could do something maybe with a sampler. Let's try Contact. Let's try Contact. That might just work. We need a sample, something pretty... with quite a lot of modulation, I think. Let's just try that sample and see what we can do with it. So this is in F. I should go into the mapping editor and change this to F2. What key is this particular clip in? It's F2. Okay, that's good. Then in Contact, I want to bring up the script editor and go to Factory Performance Unisono Portamento. Let's turn this to legato and set this to auto. Bring the time down a bit, and I like to turn on the relative. That sounds a little bit better usually. Are you usually making more Neuro HDB, or what is your preferred style? Yeah, Neurofunk is usually what I make. Neurofunk drum and bass, which this pretty much is, don't get me wrong. But yeah, that's usually what I make, at least the last year or so. Now this is really sounding weird at the moment, but we're gonna work on this, don't get me wrong. We might have to use a different sample, but I'm gonna try this one out first, see if we can do something with it. So let's just do... See, I like that little sound there. So I'm gonna turn the loop on, and we're gonna zoom in a bunch here. And let's see, that sound is right here. So it's about that. I'm gonna bring the fade up a little bit so we don't get any clicks. I'm also gonna bring up the pitch bend amount to 12 semitones, so we can do that. Now I should go all the way down and bring that release down because it's very long. Bring the attack up. I like that initial hit. Now I'm also gonna add a envelope to here, to the pitch. Set it to 12 semitones as well. Let's go down to the envelope. It's this bottom one. I'm gonna bring the sustain all the way down, attack all the way down, bring the decay down a bit as well. So it's really creating a transient at the start. We might have to put this a little bit further on into the sound. Now, because we now have that loop going on, I can do that same pitch bend as we had earlier, which was something like this. See, that kind of works. That ends a little bit better. Why do you use Contact instead of Ableton Sampler? I can show you that. I like Contact a lot more because it has a lot more options for processing the sounds that you have. You get so much more control with Operator than you have with the Ableton Sampler, and especially because the built-in filters are so goddamn good. Let me show you. You've got so many different filters you can choose from. These are just your low-pass filters, so these are all different sounding low-pass filters. Then you've got all the different high-pass filters, you've got the different bandpass filters, then you've got your peaks and notches, and you've actually got a double notch as well, which is the ladder notch, and then you've got the band reject, which is pretty awesome. You've got your multi-filters, and the most awesome one of them all is the 3x2 versatile. It's actually 3 filters in one, and all the filters have a morph knob, which is absolutely awesome. So you can set this to the full amount. So now it's a low pass. It goes from low pass into band pass into high pass, and it's a really great filter because you have 3, so you can actually change. Let's say I want to shift this one and add another filter, and I can set this to, I don't know, you can really make a pretty crazy filter shape this way. Bring up those resonances so you can see, and then by just changing that one cutoff position, you're changing all the filters at the same time. You're changing all the cutoffs at the same time, and you're offsetting them with these shift knobs, and everything can be modulated. You can basically click there on the mod section, add an LFO to that mod section, and then right here you can basically just set, I want to set it to the cutoff frequency, and I want to have another LFO set to the cutoff shift, which is gonna create a really interesting sound. So you can do a lot, and I find it really interesting. It also has some really good other stuff, like you have the effects here, which are some Foreman filters. You've got your EQs, and then you've got a whole bunch of effects, and these effects right here are pretty good. You've got some distortion, some saturation. I really like them, so that's why I tend to use Contact over the Ableton Sampler. But yeah, the Ableton Sampler is great as well. You can use that as well, but I just find this to be a lot more complete, and you get a lot more control. So let's try adding that ladder notch. Set it to the high quality setting, and let's add a modulator. Let's just do an LFO to keep it simple. I'm gonna change the speed of that LFO so we can set the speed, and if you click right here on where it says Hertz, you get this little menu, and you can actually set it to a particular note. So I can just set it to a one whole note, so a one whole beat, so now it's actually synced to the BPM. Okay, let's try the band reject. And let's add another modulator, and that's also great. You can now add the same LFO to this one as well. Let's set it to a different range. Let's say I want to invert that. Let's try out adding a little bit of distortion to it. Maybe a little bit of the tape saturation, bring the warmth up a little bit. Still sounding a little bit weird. We can always play around with the start position in the sample to get a different sound, but let's try bringing down those mids a little bit. And let's add a distortion. Let's add isotope trash to it. What kind of synth is this? Oh my god, it's not a synthesizer, it's actually a sampler. It's Native Instruments Contact. So let's reset those curves. And let's zoom in a little bit. So let's listen how that actually sounds right now. Let's try. I need to go into the clip right here, and I'm gonna try create a rising bass with that same thing. Not so much though, so we can go into Contact. Which Contact library do you use? I'm not using a library, I'm just simply using Contact for what it is. It's a sampler, and you can drag an audio file in it. You might hear all these little kids playing outside my house. Basically all the kids are free at the moment. All the kids don't have to go to school tomorrow, so they can all play outside till really late. And they are also playing outside with fireworks all the time. So if you hear something, that might be it. Now let's see if we can find another section in the sample that we like. I'm gonna drag the loop out a lot. Actually, I'm gonna make the pitch bend a lot less, so let's do only one semitone, or a little bit more, 3 maybe. I think we need a different bass sound for this particular sampler though. Let's try finding a different sample. Now you can easily replace your sample without losing everything you've done. All you have to do is just click here on this yellow thing. If you click outside it, it deselects it. Just clicks on that thing. That's your sample, and that's the key range that you've set it to. So you can see I've set it to that key range, and just press the delete key and just removes it. And then you can go into your sample library and just look for something else. Let's see. Now these are all really basic reeds, so those I need something with a really sharp, maybe even a rhythmic thing, you know. I have some other folders maybe. which we can look into. What's the rank feature in your sample library? That's just showing up. If you click the browser, you can turn on a couple of different things. The rank is just a little bar that displays how much you've played that particular sample. So if you played a particular sample a lot, or if you've used that sample a lot, it will have a much longer bar behind that sample name, behind the file name. So you can see like, oh yeah, I've used that sample a lot, so it must be good. Or I've used it a lot, so I might as well use something else this time, you know? I don't necessarily use it a lot, but it's turned on for a couple of folders. We could try this one actually. It's already pretty dirty, so I'm just gonna drag that in so it covers the entire frequency range. This is in the key of G, so I'm gonna switch this to G2. Let's bring that up to G2, and now we have the same thing but with another sample. This might be really loud because the sample is a bit louder as well, but it sounds pretty awkward right now. You need to turn the loop back on though, so make that loop shorter, and let's zoom in. Let's try something like that. Bring the crossfade up a little bit. Dun 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 dun. ARTFX, the producer that makes tutorials on YouTube. Yes, that's me. I'm actually streaming on YouTube as well, by the way, so I'm streaming at both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Let's bring the pitch bend range up and see if we can do some crazy pitch bend movement on this. Something going up and then going down. And I can try if we can make the let's turn those two off. I can make the pitch bend range larger actually. By going to Add Modulator, doing another pitch bend, and setting it to, again, 12 semitones. So now, and I'm gonna bring the lag up to the same setting, so it doesn't sound weird, but now we can do these really large pitch bend automations. It's better. It's definitely better than the other sound. It's definitely better than the other sound. Let's just get rid of that one. That was quite funny. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. we are going to F sharp. We can try going up to C sharp, which also in the same scale. And then going down to F sharp again here. Welcome BFLT. Thanks for the follow. That's kind of awkward. It's going back up again now, which is a little weird. I guess that works. It's good enough for now. We can always work a little bit on that and tweak it further, but I don't want to get stuck in tweaking that thing over and over again. So, okay, so if you guys like what you're seeing, and if you want to be a part of my future streams as well, and if you want to be notified of my streams, check out the links below the stream in the description. You can find some links. You can find some links to my donation Streamlabs page where you can help me out. Every donation is used to make these streams better. I'm going to be buying a new computer soon, so every little donation helps. And if you want to be part of a community and be notified whenever I go live, check out the invite link to my Discord server. That's a place where we talk about music production. It's a really quick growing place, to be quite honest, and there's a lot of people in there that produce drum and bass or genres influenced by drum and bass. So I'm also looking at stuff like neurohop, and there's a lot of stuff in there. You can ask your ask for feedback, you can ask your questions there. If you want to be a part of that, check it out. Also, welcome Normal TV, thanks for the follow, and also thanks to the other guy that followed while I was playing this. I'm not sure what your name is. I forgot to say your name, but anyway, if that's you, thanks for the follow as well. So yeah, if there's any questions about what I'm doing in this stream, let me know. I don't think I talked about the fill sound actually that I have here. I mean, there's not much to say, it's just a sample, but it's a couple of different samples actually that I chopped up and rearranged, and yeah, kind of works. I like the first section of that bass sound that we just made. I like that first section, that fast movement. I like that. I don't think I like the end though. So let's see. Do you sell your tracks on Audio Jungle? No. I don't know, man. I don't know how the sales are because I don't sell my music there. If I sell my music, it's generally through a record label, or I release it myself, which I might as well do for my upcoming EP. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna send it to a couple of labels, but if none of those labels responds, then I'll just release it myself.
Riggedy, riggedy, wrecked, son!
Thank you, 6 Toes, for the follow. 6 Toes. Hello Skodum Astronomy. Welcome to the stream. I hope you guys are liking what you're seeing right now. We should be doing some production. Let's make some sounds for the intro, I guess. What's your profession? How do you get your money? My profession is making music and teaching people. That's what my job is at the moment. I do still have a job in a store, but that job is only 1 day a week. So well, it's really not much at all. I mean, 1 day a week of work is, well, pretty much nothing. So I don't even count that as my income at the moment. I do get a little bit of money from it, and it's like a little bit of a you know, it's a little bit of a certainty. I know that I'm gonna get that little bit of money from my job every month, and everything that I make next to that is pretty much what I get. Now I do pretty much most of my income at the moment is coming from mostly my sample pack sales. I make and release sample packs on Black Octopus Sound, and they're being sold on pretty much all the big record labels, all the big sample pack stores. So you know, Loopmasters, Plies, what else do we got? Beatport Sounds, and there's a lot of them actually. Thanks One Toe for the subscription. But yeah, I just sell my sample packs, and that's how I earn my income. I also get a little bit of money every month from YouTube, from my YouTube videos that I get a little bit of money from. I have some, you know, some music sales that I get money from. It's not a lot, but you do get a little bit from it. Same as for streaming, you do get a little bit from that. It's not much at all, but you know, every little bit helps. And every little, you know, even though I might not make a lot of money from all of these things, all combined, it's still an income, you know. So, and that's all that matters. Let's see, do I have any other sources? Well, every now and then I make videos for other companies, like I do make videos for other people as well, and I also help people with getting their tracks to sound right. Like I do mixdowns for people. Like people ask me, I made a track, could you help me get the track to sound better? Sure, I can help you with that, you know, and I can, as long as you pay for it, because I'm not going to do it for free. Don't get me wrong, I need to pay my rent as well. But you know, that's just ways how you could make money as a producer. And next to that, I'm gonna be starting private lessons the start of next year. January, I'm gonna start doing private one-on-one lessons, which is actually something I'm going to be doing to try if I can quit my job that I still have, because I really want to quit that job. I don't enjoy it anymore. There's been a lot of changes going on in that company recently. We've got a new supervisor that is a total dick, to be honest. And yeah, I just really don't enjoy it anymore. So I've been working there for over 12 years, and I've had a lot of fun at that job. But just with the recent developments, it's all becoming a lot more commercial, which, you know, a lot of companies are becoming at the moment. Like, everything is becoming more commercial, but they're really looking a lot more at, you know, like how much you sell somebody. You know, that's the most important thing, which in my opinion is not the thing you should look at. I mean, of course people should buy as much as possible, but if the atmosphere in the store is not good, and if all the people working there work there against their own will, they don't like it there, then the customers are gonna see that, you know? And the customer will not buy as much if they come in a store where they notice that the employees don't enjoy their job, you know? So the atmosphere in the company should be the first priority, and that's, well, it doesn't look like that's the case right now. So yeah, I've been wanting to do private lessons for a long time. I just never gotten into it because of the fact that I thought my computer couldn't really deal with it. I'm working on an old computer, so that's also the reason why I haven't been streaming a lot, or why I haven't started streaming anytime sooner. But I figured it all out. It all works fine right now, so I'm definitely going to be starting private lessons the start of next year, January. So you can actually send me an email if you are interested in private lessons and you want to learn something about music production. you can send me an email on the following email address. I put it in the chat right now. And if you want to check out my sample packs or my preset packs on Black Octopus Sound, you can check this link. So let's see, we have a bunch of comments now. You should make a Udemy course. That could be an option, yeah. That could definitely be an option. But I'm working with other companies at the moment, and I think if I do a full-on course, then those companies would more than happily release it. You know, they will be really happy to release that. So I don't think I would ever go to Udemy or one of these other companies, because I'm already working with companies that could release something like that for me. So there's no reason for me to go to Udemy. But yeah, if I ever do like a full-on course about something, then you will probably see that on the Black Octopus Sound website. Or Bass Gorilla. I might actually have something coming up with Bass Gorilla soon, but I'm not gonna say too much yet. It's very cool when your hobby makes a profit. Yeah, absolutely, but it's hard work as well. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of hard work, and as long as you put in a lot of work, you will get something back from it. But you need to put in the work, you know. It's not gonna come at you, you know, by you just sitting there, waking up at 3 p.m. and just thinking to yourself, okay, where's the money? You know, it's not gonna happen like that. You really have to put in the work, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's fun hard work, and I don't mind that, you know. What I do mind is hard work that's not fun. That's not enjoyable, and that's why I want to stop working at that company. So it's not that I get a lot of money from that company every month, so I don't need a lot of lessons a month to be able to replace that job with giving lessons to people. So that's looking pretty good. It looks like I could probably quit the job pretty soon. So yeah, we'll see. Do you ever think about try sending your tracks to record labels to get recognized more as a producer? I am going to send this upcoming EP to only bigger record labels. I'm not going to bother with all these small drum and bass labels anymore like I've done in the past. It's great, you know, you can get a release and you can get your tracks on Beatport, which is great, but to be perfectly honest, I've never saw anything back from any of these small labels. All of these releases that I've had, I think I've got paid maybe 50 euros max in, what was it, the last 5 or 6 years. So, you know, it's not worthwhile to release something with a small label like that. I expect the label which releases my tracks to at least do a little bit more than just release it, you know. I expect the label to at least do a little bit of marketing and a little bit of promotion to get my track in the hands of some, you know, big DJs that are playing a lot of shows, or, you know, expect them to maybe put in a little bit of money to get a video clip done, you know, stuff like that. That's what I expect from a record label. Don't get me wrong, I'll be marketing and promoting my own releases like hell, you know. I'll be promoting them a lot, don't get me wrong, but a record label should not just take your track, release it, and cash in on the money that they make from it, which isn't much to begin with. But then when you come at them and say like, hey, it's been like 5 years, how much money did I make? And they'll be like, oh, you made 60 euros over the last 5 years, and we made about 50 euros of costs to get your release done, so yeah, you've made 10 euros, you know. And that just doesn't work. So it's much more interesting to release something independently at the moment. So if you know you're not good enough yet to come on, well, to get something released on a really big record label, it's much more interesting right now to just release it yourself. You can use stuff like DistroKid or anything like that and get your own music on a lot of digital record stores, and you know, you don't have to deal with a record label at all. All the money that comes in will be going directly to you. And there's also stuff like Bandcamp, you know. There's a lot of methods that you can use to get your music out there without having to rely on a record label. And, you know, if you go that route, you've got everything in your own hands. So it will mean that you got to do a little bit more work, but it's all worth it in my opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna be sending this to a fewer bigger drum and bass labels. That's where I'm gonna be sending my upcoming EP, and we'll see what happens. If they enjoy it and want to release it, then that's good. If not, then we'll probably release it myself on either Bandcamp or through something like DistroKid and just get it released on a lot of stores. Now, I am still looking into independent releasing and getting your stuff on Beatport, because that seems to be quite difficult. If anybody knows me how to do that, then let me know. But yeah, other than that, that's what I've been looking into, and I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done. So ARTFX, how do you split up your work process over the week to stay motivated and keep the music you producing fresh? Well, I produce music every day. Don't get me wrong, I work on music every day, but I do tend to work on multiple different tracks at the same time. So every time I'm stuck with a track, or I'm not feeling inspired anymore for a track, I'll just switch over to a different track, you know. I've got a couple of tracks right now in production that are probably gonna make it to the EP, but I haven't worked on for a few weeks for that exact same reason. I find that works really well, and even if that doesn't work, then just take a break from making music altogether and just come back at it, you know, a couple of weeks or a couple of days later, and that'll most often do the job. That's what I mean. Thought it's hard work. It's still, though it's hard work, it's still fun. Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it's all about. I would much rather do a job that I earn, well, just enough with to pay all my bills and have fun at the same time, than do a job I earn a lot more with but hate doing, if that makes any sense. Hey Split HD, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you again on the stream. So yeah, we've got this clip. For Beatport, I think you have to sign the music on a label that have a deal with them. I've heard Beatport require you to provide a 6-month schedule for releases. That might be true. Yeah, I've read stuff like that as well. Beatport generally only works with labels, that's what I've read. There are ways how to get your stuff on Beatport without a label though. I think there are a few websites that allow you to do it, but the prices of those websites are really large, and I don't think I would be able to justify the costs of those websites compared to something like DistroKid, which is a lot cheaper, and you know, the only advantage that you get is Beatport, you know. I mean, Beatport is one of the bigger sites though, so it's a little bit of a thing I'm thinking about. Is it worth it? But you know, the price difference is literally a couple of €100, and I think that this other website that I found that does allow you to release on Beatport, they ask like a couple of €100 for each release that you do, so that is gonna add up, you know. If you do like 4 or 5 EPs in a year, that's gonna add up to a lot of money that you need to pay for these releases. Whereas with DistroKid you pay, I'm not even sure how much, but you pay I think under €100 for the entire year, and you get like unlimited releases for that, which is crazy. So yeah, you know, that it's been something I've been thinking about. It would be much easier to release through one of the bigger drum and bass record labels. That would make it a lot easier, because that would, well, take away a lot of time out of my hands that I would otherwise spend on marketing and promoting and doing business stuff that I don't want to bother myself with, you know. I don't want to be doing that. I want to be making music. So if a bigger record label can do that stuff for me, then that would be much better. That will allow me to do a lot more promotion as well when a release drops. Now, looking at plugins on sale, do you recommend any? Well, I'm not sure which plugins are on sale at the moment, but if there's a couple of plugins on sale, let me know which ones are on sale and I'll let you know which ones I like. Whoops, sorry. Hey, do you plan on uploading some short videos, like one video, one preset? I'm an old fan of your first bass design. Cheers. Yeah, I will. I will do more shorter tutorials in the future again. It's just that I've been working on this EP and that's just what I want to get done. I want to get some new music done. It's been more than a year since I've released my last bit of music. I did release another track which was a free release, but like my last proper release was more than a year ago, so my priority right now is really just making music and getting some new releases under my belt. But after that I'll definitely go back into making some tutorial videos for you guys. Bifilter 2. Bifilter 2 is pretty cool, but if you are going to get a filter plugin from Tone 2, then get the filter bank. Tone 2 filter bank is absolutely insane. It's a really great filter. Filter bank 3. Is it Friday already? No, it's not. It's Thursday. And we're actually doing a stream today, but we're also doing a stream tomorrow. And by the way, welcome back to the stream. No, I'm just doing a random stream today. I felt like working on this track, and I thought, you know, let's just do a stream. But yeah, filter bank. Filter bank is a really cool filter plugin. I can maybe show you a little bit of it on the Reese. You've got Filterbank FX and normal Filterbank. Filterbank FX is the one that you'll use for processing sounds, and the other one is Filterbank Synth. I'm not even sure how that one works. I haven't really worked with it too much, but you've got oscillators in here as well, so it's like a synthesizer, but you know, a little bit of a different one. Now, why I like this one a lot is because it has these distortion types built in as well. So you've got a filter, but it also has distortion, and I really like that. So you can see we've got some movement going on. I haven't played around with this plugin in a long time though, so I'm not even sure where everything is. Okay, so the oscillators are also your LFOs. There's also some delay going on. But these filters sound really good. And there's a lot of them. So that's why I like it as well. You've got all these notches. And especially combined with these distortions, you can get some crazy sounds. You know, the bandpass ones are pretty cool. This is like a double bandpass, by the way, which is really interesting. And the resonance changes the width, the bandwidth between the two bandpasses. So you can make some really crazy stuff with that, and especially with that distortion combined. And you've got envelopes and LFOs to modulate everything. You've got that step sequencer, and you've got all these presets as well. So yeah, if you want to get a filter plugin, then I would definitely advise you to pick up Filterbank. I think it does require iLok, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest, but it's pretty good. Thanks, Soup. Thanks, man, for your compliment. What company is Filterbank? Filterbank is made by Tone 2. Filter Freak, that's by Sound Toys, right? Those are good as well. I'm not sure why, but my Sound Toys licenses don't work anymore. I think I had a temporary license. They gave me a license to do a couple of videos, and I think it just expired, so I don't have the Sound Toys stuff anymore. What do you think of Wave's meta filter? I haven't really used that one. I have it though, because I have all the Wave stuff, but I haven't used the meta filter a lot. WoW filter by Sugarbytes is pretty cool, although I'm more a fan of the first version than the second version. The second version I don't necessarily like that much, but that's just my own personal preference. What filters do you use most? Well, mostly I just use the auto filter in Ableton Live. That's the one I use most. And next to that, I tend to use the filters in Contact a lot at the moment. So I'll even, I'll even just go as far as just bouncing an entire bass sound down to audio and just putting that in Contact just so that I can run it through the filters in Contact. Like, don't do any pitch movement, don't do anything other than just using the filters and the processing power of Contact. But yeah, I really like that. And yeah, and otherwise there's always Serum FX. So Serum FX, which is like the effects version of Serum, so you can use the filters that come with Serum on any sound that you have. And those are pretty much the filters I use most. And the Tone 2 Filterbank 3 is one I like to use a lot as well. The Filterbank 3 actually reminds me a little bit of the Filterbank by Sherman, which is a hardware filter. I had a plugin that actually resembled that a lot, but I don't have it anymore. I only had the 32-bit version of it, and I don't think there's a 64-bit version. But yeah, it's really good. There's so many FX VSTs. If you had to choose one suit collection, which one would you get? The Fab Filter Bundle. Absolutely 100% the Fab Filter Bundle. Get that one. Why Contact? Because it's so good. You've got a lot of modulation options and you've got a lot of effects that come with it. And a lot of filters, which is why I like it a lot. How do you go about transient shapers and compression with drums? I only use compression or transient shapers when I need it. That's pretty much the main thing I can tell you to do. So I usually have a little bit of compression on my drums, so my main kick and snare, just to make sure that they don't go over a certain level. So let's say 0 dB. But that's just, there's usually not that much compression on my drums at all. Only to tame the loudest peaks.
Wrecked, son!
Welcome Julian Hogendoren. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, I just really do very minimal amount of compression actually. Most of the loudness in my drums comes from distortion and saturation. I find that to give a better sound, at least for the tracks that I do. Do you ever sample in Harmor? I don't really use Harmor that much. I do have it, but I don't use it a lot. What pitch shifter plugin is the best? I've got one pitch shifter that I like a lot, and it's by Audio Assault, and it's called Discord 3. So it's this one. Oh wait, it's by Audio Damage, sorry. Audio Damage Discord 3. It's quite an interesting one because you have that modulation going on. You can get some pretty crazy stereo effects with it. But I don't really use it a lot, to be honest. But it's pretty cool. So what's your favorite saturation or distortion for drums? Trash 2. Trash 2 is my main distortion plugin. I'm using not that much on this track in particular. I'm using the saturator that comes with Ableton Live to get some more loudness out of the drums. Not even that much. well, they do get a bit louder, but I'm not really doing that much, to be honest. I'm mostly using the wave shaper kind of mode right here called Synode Fold, which just really brings it up. I'm only adding like a half dB of gain on the drive knob, so that's not a lot, but it does make it a lot louder. Do an AU5 zip which he put up 2 days ago. I'm not sure what you mean, but it's audio damage Discord 3. Discord 3 right there. See? Audio damage Discord 3. That's the plugin. Do you use pink noise technique for setting tracks levels? Nope, I don't do that. I just mix as I go. I just mix by ear. And I find that a lot better than mixing according to a noise file. I think we should make some sounds for the intro. We need like a pad or some kind. We need some stuff for the intro, and we haven't got a lot here. So let's just make a MIDI track in here, in the Atmos group. And let's just start with making a really simple pad in Serum. Just some, not necessarily a pad that we'll use, but just so that we have something of which we know that the key is correct. Because I want to try making a pad out of maybe a sample, or you know, something weird, you know, just to make an interesting pad. But if we use samples, then we might have to tune it to make it work, you know, to put it in the right key. And if we just make a pad real quick with Serum, then we know that that pad is in tune. And then we only have to tune the contact pad that we made from a sample to this Serum pad, and that might actually just work. It makes it easier to tune things, by the way. So let's just put in a F note of 16 bars, so it's going to be a long F note with a bit of detuning on it. I'm going to drop the octave. And I'm gonna add another one 2 octaves down, also with 6 voices. And let's add a little bit of attack time, a little bit of release time as well. And I'm gonna add a filter. So we have a little bit of a pad going now. Let's create another MIDI track and put that same clip right here, and let's load up Contact. Do you use headphones or monitor speakers during producing and or sound design? A bit of both. When I do live streams, I always work on my headphones, because otherwise you guys will be able to hear the sound coming from my speakers, so that doesn't work. When I produce, it completely depends. Sometimes I work on monitors, and sometimes I work on my headphones. I do like working on headphones a lot, because I'm able to hear everything a lot better. But I do work on my speakers a lot as well, because I know them really well. So I know what good music sounds like on my speakers, and therefore it's really easy for me to get a good mix down on those speakers. Even though they're pretty old and pretty small, I can still make it work. So let's see. Maybe we can make use of a sample pack. Like, you know, a lot of people tend to use a lot of people don't always use sample packs a lot, because they think it's cheating, but you can do a lot with sample packs. So let's see if I can find some pads, maybe. Those are a little bit too simple for my taste, or a little bit too happy sounding for my taste. Those are written in a chord. That's also not something I like. I want something in a, you know, in one key. That's way too happy sounding. Let me bring the preview volume down a bit. This is in the key of F, so that's already in the right key. I might want to do like another key that would probably work better, because then it makes the sample sound a little bit different as well. That's in the key of G. That could work as well. Let's try find something different though, because I don't think they sound too good. At least not for what I want. Bum, 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 bum. I know there is like a folder of some pretty cool pads. Might be this one actually. Let's try that one. This is in G sharp minor, so let's set this to G sharp. That should make this in the right key at least.
Riggedy, riggedy, wrecked, son!
I'm gonna add a bit of attack time. And I'm going to add some filter movement to it. Let's see if we can go into the wave editor. I'm gonna create a loop as well. And let's loop a section so that we can make really long notes as well, and it just loops back and forth. Create a pretty long fade actually. I mean, that kind of works. Let's add a little bit of filter movement to this. Maybe a bandpass could work. I think it's a little bit too happy sounding for what we have in the drop. Like, we have a really heavy drop. Let's take these chords to here. Maybe if we stay on that F note, that would be a little bit better. See, that could work if we just stay on F. We could maybe go down an octave. I like the sound of that pad though. I want to add a little bit of movement to the filter cutoff position, so I'm going to use an LFO for that. I'm going to make the movement really small. And let's set that to whole bar, or whole beat, I think. So we can do something quite long. Set it a little bit higher, a little bit less, and I can change the phase so that it goes down first. I mean, that's a good pad to start the track off with. Let's add a top layer to this with contact again. I'm gonna do it in the same instance of contact. I think that could work. So now I wanna find a sound that is. Let's use the search function and let's just search for water or something liquidy or something like that. What headphones do you use? I use the AKG K240 Mark IIs, which I think are pretty good headphones. I'm gonna get the what is it called, SonarWorks reference software soon. I should be getting it in the mail somewhere in the upcoming days or weeks. And yeah, they've asked me to do a video about it, so I'm gonna be doing a video about that. But I'm also really interested in to hearing how it makes my headphones and my speakers sound, because it's actually a software to help you make your speakers sound more flatter, so it has a flatter frequency response, and same for your headphones. So I'm really curious to hear what it's doing and how it sounds. So now I search for water. We can go into all results right here, and it should bring up all the samples in my sample folders with the word water in it. So stuff like that. So we can put that in here and give it some attack time and some release. And let's just play that and see how it sounds. So we should change the MIDI channel. Let's I'm really trying to get some texture in this pad. I'm sorry, I missed a second. What software do you make monitors sound flatter? It's called SonarWorks Reference. I haven't checked it out yet. I need to wait for the package to come in with the included microphone that you have to use to measure and calibrate your speakers with. But I'm getting that soon in the mail, so I should be seeing a box coming in pretty soon, and then I can actually do a video about it and see how it works and if I actually like it. So if I add, do we have some reverb here? Probably in the send effects. Yeah. Are there presets included? Yes. I mean, I like what it's doing. Maybe add a little bit of delay to it as well. Let's set the delay to, let's just set it to whole notes. I don't like though that the reverb is not going, that the delay is not reverbed. Can you send this one to here? Probably can in some way, I'm just not sure how. Maybe if we put the delay before it. No, you can't order those. Should work though if we put the convolution on the insert effects and not on the effects here. So now let's add a EQ to this. Let's do a one band EQ. Just take out a lot of the low end. Make that one a bit quieter as well. So now we need another sound. We need something else. What should we search for? Let's just search for Atmos. And let's see if we can find another atmosphere sound that we can use to make this pad even more interesting. If there's any questions about what I'm doing, then ask me in the chat and I'll answer your questions. If there's anything you want to know, just let me know and I'll get back at you. If you want to be part of a music production community, check out the links below the stream. You can find links to my Discord server. It would be great to see you guys there and have a little chat with you guys about music production. We do chats about music there every single day. We're basically just talking about everything about sound design. You can ask your questions, you can ask for feedback or help other members by giving them feedback. yeah, so if you want to be part of that, check out the invite link in the description. You can also find a link to donate whatever you want, or if you want to donate something, then you can find a link there as well. So, see, that one could work. Let's drag it in. Let's go to the mapping editor and set this to F2. And change the MIDI channel. So it's a pretty long file, but I'm just gonna, to be sure, gonna make a little loop and just loop that so that when we have a really long note it just loops it. This layer, let's see if we can do something to it. Let's try a band pass. Let's try adding some modulation to that with let's just do an LFO and let's set it to a sawtooth. And I'm gonna sync that to the BPM. I'm gonna do 8 notes. So I think the pad works pretty well actually, it sounds pretty good. Let's add an EQ8 to the pad. Let's try adding the pedal to it as well, which is going to add some distortion. And we have the other pad, which is quite high pitched, to be honest. Let's layer that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, we don't need that sound right there. So I'll probably start it off like that. And slowly bring this in. Probably over that entire time. And just make like a really long F note. And I might have to go into the water file and yeah, set up a loop real quick, because I'm not sure if we might, you know, get to the end of the whole file, and I want it to loop if that happens. Just do that. Give it a little fade. Let's see if we can pitch this one an octave down. I think that sounds pretty good. Well, that's at least a pad done. Let's say pad serum, and this is pad contact watery. So we have a little bit of a pad going. Let's put maybe some impact sound. Let's just search for impact. After the pad, I challenge you to add tribal vocals or vocal chops to the drop. I don't even know if I have tribal vocals. Let's see if we have some impact sounds.
Impact. Impact. Impact.
Something like that, maybe. You know, something to start the track off with. I don't think it has enough sub. Let's... I mean, that has sub. It's a little bit too much. That works. And let's put... I'm gonna search for sub. Let's see. We need some kind of a sub impact. I might have something in my own folder here. impacts, subs. See, something like that maybe. Just to add a bit more sub to that first initial start of the track. Not as loud, I think. See, that works. I probably want to put this one here as well. EOCU? Right. We need something else there, maybe something that comes up, like a little reverse maybe. Now that sound needs a lot of reverb for it to work. Valhalla Vintage Verb should be good. Might be able to put it here. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of a I think a ride in the intro, so we have a little bit of a rhythm going, something to keep the rhythm. Let's see. Cymbals, rides. Something like that, maybe. See, that kind of works. I think that works. We have a little bit, we need something here, something coming in this section. Not sure what. Here I want to do something melodic that is probably going to come in here, and it's going to continue through this part where the pads are going to cut out, and it's really going to focus on that melody, and then it's going to jump into the build-up right here. So in the build-up we will probably get a variation on this sound. Might even get like a variation like this. Let me fix the pitch bend real quick. I'm gonna make a duplicate of this though, because I want to have the pitch bend continue further up compared to the one that I have in the drop. So I'm just gonna make a copy of it, and I'm going to set the pitch bend range, I think, to 12 or 10. 10 would be exactly 2 times what we have, but let's do 12 to basically have it in a full octave. And I want the pitch bend to continue until, I think, until here. So we need something like a big as rise here, and we need to filter that chord. Might also want to do like a version that has a little bit less distortion on it. Maybe something like that. And then, you know, filter it a lot to really cut out all of the mids and all of the low end towards the end of the build-up. I think I want to stop this a little earlier though. So we have that little gap. So we get but we'll work on that further if we have a little bit more of the intro done. Wow, this is sick. Personally would prefer the chords not so upfront in the mix at the drop, but it still sounds good. Yeah, I mean the mix down is not done at all. This could just as well go a few dB quieter, you know? But you know, we'll work on the final mixdown when the track is done. I'm thinking what to do with the intro. I'm thinking what to add. I think it needs like an element that really hooks you right off the start, like a melodic element. Maybe a pretty distorted synth as well. Not necessarily distorted like a really harsh sounding, but more distorted in the low mids. Let's add a MIDI track. And let's add massive for a change. New sound. I had an idea in my head before I created the MIDI clip, but I forgot it again. Let's give this a little bit of release so we can hear the tone a little bit better. Like, I'm just trying to come up with some notes that work, not necessarily paying attention to the sound itself. Let's see, what could work. Let's try adding the polysol, and let's do sol 2. Give it a bunch of voices. Tips getting a track efficiently done. Just keep working on it, man. Keep experimenting until it works. That's probably the best advice I can give you. Let's just use the first filter. So the nodes work. It's just the patch right now that doesn't work too well. Let me create a new MIDI track and put these notes on a new MIDI track. And let me just do a copy. And try out what we can do with Serum. WoW 2 this one. I don't even know if I have WoW 2 installed at the moment. I don't think I have. yeah, it sounds a little bit weak in a way. I might layer it with another synth. Let's try. Nah, that doesn't work. I'm gonna get rid of the massive because I don't like that anyway. See, I like when it opens up. So if I do an LFO on that filter, so it opens up a bit, and just give that a 2-bar time. I think, no, 8 bars. What's up, man? How you doing? Welcome, Azure. Welcome to the stream. I hope you like what you're seeing. We're just trying out some stuff. Let's put the distortion after the reverb, and let's set it to the X shaper mode. And let's see if we can get some more volume out of this. Also, this sound needs to be a lot louder. It's really quiet at the moment. Let's add an glue compressor. I'm not sure yet about that synth sound. It sounds pretty interesting, although it sounds a little bit too cheesy at some points, but maybe if we filter it at some point it might actually turn into something pretty good. Is it neuro time? Well, actually it is. We are working on this. I've got this little drop, and that sounds like this. I forgot, I've got the sidechain turned off. It should actually sound even cleaner with the sidechain. So that's the drop that I made today, before I started the stream, and now we're trying to make an intro. So see, I don't like that synth. I don't like it. It's the notes are fine, but the synth itself sounds way too simple. We need to have something a lot more well, special sounding. Maybe I can find something in Contact, something that would normally be used in film music, you know, that might actually work. Something that is a little bit more atonal. I think that would work, because this has a really clear a really clear melody to it, which I don't think necessarily works too well for these kind of tracks. You can do melodies, but then I would advise to do something more like long sustained strings, you know, stuff like that. Playing a few chords, that could work. Maybe double it up with a Reese bass that filters in, that works, you know. But having like this really melodic synth going on, I don't think that works too well. It will work better if it's a more atonal sound though. So maybe we can turn this more atonal by using some pitch modulation maybe. Let's try adding envelope number 2 on the global master tune-in. Give it some pitch movement. See, that already sounds better, in my opinion, even though there's no pitch movement going on. But I could try maybe doing some See, I'm not sure. I think we need a bit more of an atonal synth sound, or maybe not even a synth sound. Maybe we can just create something out of a percussive sound or any random Foley sound or whatever. We can always turn something into a synth. But the notes work. The notes are good, you know? I like that movement going down in terms of the notes. That's a cool thing. I'm working in F Phrygian, so that is it's based on the F minor scale. You just have that first semitone interval instead of having like a normal F minor. Like with a normal F minor, you would have we start on F. Normal F minor would be, I think, that, and then going into F again. That would be your normal F minor, but I'm doing F Phrygian, which moves this one down one semitone. You get that first interval is really interesting, and it's used a lot in drum and bass. See, and you can also go up to C, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be the fifth. So this is a perfect fifth, and then you have again that one semitone interval. So you could also do. See, and that's also something used a lot in drum and bass. So F Phrygian is really a cool key. Let's see, how much cost to upgrade from Live 9 suit to Live 10 suit? I think it's 200 euros, 199 euros. At least that's what I bought the upgrade for. I pre-ordered it though, so I will have to pay it as soon as Ableton gets released. As soon as Ableton 10 gets released though. But I'm ready. I'm waiting for the release. Are you perhaps a Cohen fanboy, and if you are, do you have a favorite track? I wouldn't say I'm a fanboy. I don't think I'm a fanboy to any artist, to be quite honest. I do like several artists though, and Cohen Sound is definitely one of them. But also Noisia, Black Sun Empire, Mephius, of course. Akov is doing good stuff in drum and bass. But yeah, there's a lot of people, Billion as well, for instance. So there's countless of people I tend to, well, not fanboy to, but I would say look up to or get inspired by. And Cohen Sound is definitely one of those. I'm really a big, I would say one of my favorite tracks of them would be the EP they did with Asa, the, which one was it? Starlight, whatever it was called. I'm not too sure, but the one with the track Tetsuo's Redemption. That was one of my favorite works of them. Especially, I think that track in particular, Tetsuo's Redemption. I think it was a pretty cool track. But I wouldn't say I'm a big fanboy of Cohen Sound. It's not like I listen to Cohen Sound every day. To be honest, I haven't listened to these tracks in a while. So I did hear Billion's remix of Tetsuo's Redemption earlier this week, which I hadn't heard for a long time, and I was listening to it on headphones, and I was kind of amazed by how empty the track sounds at some parts. You know, there's a lot of space in that track. You can still fill that up quite heavily, actually. There's quite a few bits in that track of which I thought, like, I would have probably added like another element there just to give it a bit more fullness, or however you want to call it. But I mean, the track is great, don't get me wrong, it's a great remix, but yeah, that's just something that I found that's, well, that I heard and that I thought of, like, never noticed it any time sooner, anytime earlier. I loved the track when it first came out though, so I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool to hear. Like, you haven't heard a track in a while and you now hear it back and you're actually like, did I really think this was that good? Like, when it came out I was like, whoa, this track is insane, and now I listen back to it and I'm like, it's good, but it can be better. Maybe I just improved in the meantime, but there's always going to be stuff like that. There's always, tracks are never done and there's always stuff to change. But maybe we can find another sound for this. I'm gonna go and move these MIDI notes to another MIDI track again, and let's just open up Contact and see if we can find something in Contact. Or we could be able to do Omnisphere. Omnisphere is also good for these kind of things. Although it is always a pain in the ass to find the right sound in Omnisphere, so let's just go with Contact. I know that feel. Yep. Yep, I know that feel. So yeah, let's bring up the browser and let's see if we can find something in here. Gravity is one of the things I like to use a lot. So Unnerving would probably be the right place to start for something atonal. And it also comes with these presets, these snapshots, and we can go to one of the short ones to get a more shorter sound. I mean, it already sounds more interesting than what we had. Let's bring it up an octave. So let's see if we have something in here that we can use. These short ones are definitely good for the kind of sound that we're making here. Okay, let's try another preset. Ominous. Yeah, replace it. Let's see what these are. Okay, those are pretty crazy. Gonna make those notes a bit longer.
Riggedy, riggedy, wrecked, son!
Thanks for the subscription, Amada Singh. I hope I pronounced it right. Let's try maybe one of the vocalize pack for Gravity. Vocalize pack is actually pretty good sounding as well. Let's see what else we have in here. I don't necessarily like that it's doing some weird stuff with the pitches, so I'm gonna go into the main Gravity one and let's go into pads, complex, experimental maybe. If this doesn't work, we'll go for a different contact library, see if we can find something else. that one is too much, but maybe it could work. So I'm gonna make a copy, and I'm gonna get rid of all these notes. And I'm just gonna make an F note at the start. And we need to turn the other one off. See, I like that little hit on the start. I think I want to put some more reverb on it though. So let's go for Valhalla Vintage Verb. And hey, welcome Toxic Fur 3 SSZ, whatever your name is. Welcome to the stream. I hope you like what you're seeing and what you're hearing. If you guys do and want to be part of a music production community that I run on Discord, check out the links below the stream. In there you can find an invite link to join my Discord server where we talk about music production, sound design, and everything regarding drum and bass. So if you want to be better at drum and bass production, then joining the Discord server is definitely a good place to start, because you can talk to people that make drum and bass or drum and bass inspired genres. And I think having people to talk to that make similar music as what you do or what you want to make is a great plus to getting better as a music producer. So if you want to be a part of that and also stay up to date whenever I go live on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, then check out the Discord server and join. Would be great to see you guys there. I'm always there after the stream to talk to you guys, so I'll be there after the stream as well, and we can have a little bit of a discussion about whatever. So this sound, with some more reverb on it, I'm gonna make it quite long. Nice ad voice. We could make it even worse. Buy my sample packs. You know? If you want my sample packs, check out the link in the chat right now. Check out my sample packs on Black Octopus Sound. Got some sample and preset packs. Would be great if you guys can check those out. If you need some new sounds, all of your purchases are used to make this channel better. No, really, guys, I'm doing quite well at the moment. The channel is going in a good direction. The streaming is definitely helping a lot to get more viewers and get some new subscribers to my channel. So it's all going in the right direction. So much, in fact, that I'm now gonna be able to build a new computer in the upcoming year. Somewhere in January, I'm gonna order myself a whole new computer, which is gonna make the streams and the tutorial videos a lot better, because I'll be able to do a lot more stuff compared to what I can do now. I've been working hard for that, and I'm glad that I'm finally there. I finally got enough money to get a new computer soon, so that's gonna happen. Now, I like it with that reverb on it. I'm gonna put a little EQ8 on here as well, and just get rid of the low end because we don't need that. Adds a nice sound to the start. I think I really like that. And I like that it goes up one semitone even though all the other pads stay on F. Kinda makes it sound a little bit atonal at that section, and that's kinda the feeling that I want to have for this intro, because that'll probably make it easier to go towards the drop as well. We don't want to do too much melodic stuff, because that'll make transitioning into a non-melodic drop a lot harder. And that's usually what I try to stay away from, because I found out in the past that that usually ends up in me getting stuck on a track. So this sound doesn't necessarily work for this particular thing, but let's just go and try something else. We have the Aeon Melodic. Aeon is pretty good as well. Let's see if we can do something with Aeon. I'm also going to add a lot of reverb to this one, by the way. Yeah, melodies are difficult in Neuro, but in my eyes... Thanks for the follow, The Complex Games. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, melodies are difficult in Neuro, but in my eyes there are only two things that really create emotion: texture and melody. And that's true. That's what I usually focus on. Texture is the first thing, and then melody. I do like to slip in a little melodic element. Which, I mean, this is a melodic element that we're working on right now. It's just, we need to get that perfect sound that isn't too cheesy and doesn't make it sound like a generic EDM tune. Like, that's really easy to get, right? I can get up a synth and just make a synth patch like a lead or anything like that, but that's not necessarily what I want. I want something that is still a little bit melodic, but still is more focused on the character than the melody itself. That's also why I'm not really doing much jumps in terms of the key. See, I'm really only doing that one semitone thing, and I'm doing that here as well. And this note right here is actually just a C note, which is the perfect fifth, so that always works. So I'm not really doing too much melodic stuff. I think I'm only using 3 notes, to be honest. 4 notes. I'm using 4 notes in total, so that isn't necessarily that much. It's nothing complicated. So I think it will work. We just need to find a good sound. That's basically it. ARTFX, is music your main job? At the moment it is my main job, yeah. I do have another job which I hope I can stop soon. I really want to quit that job, so I'm gonna do that. And in the upcoming year, that's for sure. But it's not my main income anymore. I used to have that job. It used to be my main income when I started making videos, but over the years, yeah, music has become my main source of income, and my job that I currently have is just simply a little bit of an assurance that I do know that I do have a little bit of money coming in every month, even though when I have no jobs in music or whatever. But how it looks right now, it looks to be going in a really good direction, and actually looks like I will be able to stop my job soon and go full-time music, which is what I've been doing, what I've been wanting to do for a long time. He probably lives off his YouTube channel by now. Indirectly I do, but directly not. I mean, YouTube itself is not paying me a lot. Don't get me wrong, but YouTube, as making a living off of just YouTube is really hard. Don't get me wrong, but that's really difficult. And especially for a channel as specific as mine, you know, like I'm doing music production tutorials. It's pretty difficult to become a really big channel that actually makes enough money to make a living from. That's really difficult. You would need at least 1 million views on every video that you upload to really make a living from your YouTube channel. Maybe a little bit less, but you at least need about 50,000 views on each video. Otherwise you're not gonna make it. And most music production channels in the first month or so, they probably get about 4,000 to 10,000 views on your video. That's simply not enough. You're not gonna make a living from that. So no, YouTube itself is not necessarily my main source of income. I actually think it's one of the lowest sources of income that I have. I make less with YouTube than I make with my job. So that says enough. Most of it though, most of my income though comes from sample packs, comes from doing jobs like mixdowns for people, comes from teaching people, comes from, you know, stuff like that. Stuff that I do next to my YouTube channel and that I use my YouTube channel for to promote those things. So indirectly, YouTube is still helping me to make an income with music. It's just that YouTube itself is not where it's coming from. And that's what I always tell people, you know, don't focus on one thing. Don't focus on one source of income, because that is really dangerous, in my opinion. What if that one single source vanishes or goes away for whatever reason? Then you're left without any income, and that's really something I've never wanted, you know. And I see so many of my friends, you know, they work this one single job, they work full-time, and then, you know, especially when the economical crisis hit in Europe, a lot of my friends, they lost their job, you know. I didn't lose my job because I didn't really work too much at that store, so they, you know, they did fired like a whole bunch of people, but they started firing the people that, you know, did full-time jobs there that cost them a lot more money. So I was safe back then, but I saw so many of my friends losing their job, and they were left without any income. So you have to really, you know, you have to do all kinds of stuff and get a new job as soon as possible. Make sure that you have multiple sources of income. It's not that hard, you know. Everybody has something that they're good at, whether that is teaching a language or, you know, doing photography, or I don't know, it could be anything, you know. And just work on that thing and make it work on turning that into at least another source of income, so that you don't necessarily have to rely on just your job. I think that's a really good thing that everybody should look into, you know. Even if you don't necessarily have the aspirations to do that, you know, if you have something you're good at, then at least work towards making that another source of income. And that should be easy. It might be a lot of work and it might take you a long time, like it could take you years. But, you know, as long as you don't do it, you're never gonna get into that position where you're not gonna have to rely on a company for a job, you know? You have to create that yourself, so do it. You might as well start it right now, you know, and not in a couple of years from now. So that's always what I've been doing for my music channel, and I never went into music with the intention of making it my job. I started making music because I like making music. That's the main reason. I like to make music, and that's why I do it. But seeing that there is a possibility that you can turn it into a job, well, yeah, then you should go for it, you know, and try and make it happen. How long that may take doesn't matter, but try and make it happen. And if you work hard enough, you will at some point. So yeah, that's just a little life tip, I guess. Music as a career is for the dedicated. There are no shortcuts beside taking your time and getting good. Calculates 5 to 10 years just to get good enough to start putting out stuff. Yeah, that's probably true. It's a lot of hard work, but it's fun hard work. Like I said that earlier in the stream as well. I would much rather do something that is really hard work, but is fun at the same time, than doing something that is less hard in terms of work, but is really boring. You know, even though if that last thing, that boring job, would pay me twice or 3 times the amount that I could make with the fun work, then I would still go for the fun work that is harder to do. Because honestly, what fun is there if you don't have fun in your job? It's not fun, you know? And I think everybody should start thinking more about that, you know? So how do you get to the point where your sample pack gets released by a brand? Were you asked to make a sample pack, or did you make first contact with a sample pack you already had unreleased? When I started making sample packs, I had my own website, and I set up my own web store on my own website. So I figured it all out by myself, just figured out stuff like how do you set up a web store, installed Joomla, my web hosting, and basically made myself a website with a web store. And I'm not a professional web designer by any means, so it wasn't necessarily the most secure web store, but at least I had a place where I could sell my products. So that's where I started with, and it really started very small. People just started buying like a couple of packs a month. I maybe had a few sales a month. It wasn't nothing much actually, but at least I was starting something, you know? I was starting something that I could build upon. And after a while I started seeing more sales coming in. I started putting up more packs, more products, and more people started buying things. But that also got a lot more attention of I'm not even sure who or which hacker group or whatever who did it, but it came to the point where my website got a lot more attention, and at that point I saw a lot more attacks on my website coming in. Now, never ever were they able to break into my website, but seeing I'm not a professional web designer and I'm not the one to, well, professionally secure a website, I took the website down because I didn't want hackers to, well, get into my site and get to all the customer details of my customers, you know, like email addresses and real life addresses or bank account details or anything like that. Bank account details, I don't even think they will be able to see that because that's not stored in my website. But you know, I just didn't. I just wanted to be safe and didn't want them to get to any information about my customers. So I took my website down, but I still had this list of products, right? So I just simply started looking for other companies, and I found Black Octopus Sound. I really liked what they are doing. I knew them already. They had some pretty cool packs that I used a lot. So I just decided to send them an email. You know, I just sent them an email and said like, hey, I make sample packs and I would love to do something with you guys. I already, before that, I emailed Loopmasters because I had already worked with them in the past. And I asked them, like, do you want to release my sample packs? Now, Loopmasters is a little bit picky when it comes to releasing sample packs. So they were really asking for bigger packs that I had already made. So I decided to make one single pack, a vocal sample pack for Loopmasters, which is called Dark Underground Vocals. And they released that, but it was they are pretty picky when it comes to sample packs. So I basically looked further and I found Black Octopus Sound, and they were willing to release all the products I had made so far and all my future products as well. And they make sure that they are not only released on their own website, but also on all the other big sample pack stores, and that includes Loopmasters. So the packs that Loopmasters was saying, like Loopmasters told me of a few of my products, like they're not good enough, which the sounds are still good, you know, the sounds are good enough. It's just that the pack wasn't big enough. There wasn't enough sounds included for them to release it as a pack. But Black Octopus Sound, they were just like, we will just release it for a smaller price, you know? It doesn't have to be an expensive pack. We can, because it's a smaller pack, we can make it a cheaper price. And they were then still able to get it onto Loopmasters. So even though Loopmasters didn't necessarily want to release a few of my packs because they were too small, they're still now available on Loopmasters because I went through Black Octopus Sound. You know, sometimes stuff just works like that. But generally speaking, what you want to do is you just want to create yourself a demo pack. Create a demo pack of a couple of patches, like 5 to 10, maybe 15, and make patches that are like the best sound design stuff that you can do. Make a bunch of different ones as well, so make like a couple of bass patches, make a couple of pads, make a couple of synths, maybe a couple of leads or some rises, maybe some drums, you know, do some drum synthesis, and just send them a few patches in a demo pack. Send them an email like, hey, I want to make a sample pack or a preset pack with you, and yeah, I would like to know what I need to do, and they'll most likely tell you, send us a pack with some demo patches that you've made so that we can look into those. They might as well ask for samples. That's also an option if you want to make a sample pack and not a preset pack. But yeah, just make a demo, you know? Make something that you can send them so that they at least can see what you do. But when you do that, make sure that the stuff you send them is in fact good and is in fact one of the better things that you can do. You know, don't send them like a really simple kick drum that you've synthesized, you know, because you can make a kick drum, just have a sine wave and a pitch envelope, and voila, you have a kick drum. But it's probably not going to be a good idea to send that in as one of the demo patches, because it's a really simple basic patch. You really want to do something original and something that makes them think, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, you know, and that's mostly what they're looking for. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do and how I got into it. Do you think they would accept the sample pack if you don't really have a big name as an artist behind it? Yeah, of course. If you are a good sound designer, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're also a good producer. See where I'm going? There's a lot of people in the music industry that at one point wanted to become a well-known musician or a well-known producer, and figured out that it was just not for them. They tried it, but they couldn't make it work. These people, a lot of times, end up doing stuff like sound design for companies. You could also contact, let's say, plugin developers, like companies who make synthesizers, and ask them like, hey, I'm a sound designer, I could make patches for your upcoming synthesizer. Who knows? Maybe they are interested in listening to your work. And if they like it, they might give you early access to a plugin for you to make some presets for that are then included in the in the final release, you know? And there's a lot of ways you can make money as a sound designer. A lot, actually. And there's probably more people doing stuff like that than people that are actually making a living being a big name artist. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of people doing sound design. Think about movies, think about video games, think about commercials. All of those things need sounds to be made. So there's really a lot of ways to go. And the other way, you know, the other route you could take is live performing. You know, you could be a DJ. You know, that's the other way that a lot of people go. I just tend to go a lot more towards the sound design way, but I'm still really focusing on, you know, being a musician, because that's ultimately why I do all of this. But yeah, I don't know, it's just a little bit of an insight of how I got into this field of making sample packs and preset packs. And it's great fun to do as well, because you learn a lot while you're actually designing patches. You know, you learn new stuff, and that is, in my opinion, really helpful, because I get to work on music and I get to work on my skills while at the same time doing something I am going to make money with at some point. It's always hard though when you make sample packs. You never know if your sample pack is gonna sell well. You know, you really have to you have to look at what is popular right now, what is asked for a lot, and especially what is lacking in the current sample packs and preset packs, and you gotta fill that gap. You know, you gotta jump in that little gap that there is left to get a pack that really sells well. But I'm sure if you really think about it, you can probably come up with something. So let's look into this, into Heaviosity Aeon. how do you go about producing your packs? Well, that completely depends on what kind of pack it is. If it's a preset pack or a sample pack, completely depends. But what I usually do is I usually try to write a track while I'm doing the sound design. And the reason for that is because when you release a sample pack or a preset pack, doesn't matter which one of the two, the company that you're going to release it with, they're going to ask for an audio demo for the pack. And most companies these days ask for a full track. So they just want a full track produced with the sounds in the pack. So what I tend to do is simply start making a track without using any of my pre-made sounds. So I usually just start making a track and only do sound design. So, you know, I might include some drum samples and that's fine, you know, but if it's like a preset pack or a sample pack, then I only tend to make the sounds that are I'm only going to use sounds in that track that are gonna end up in the final pack. But you can really do the sound design while you're making the track, and when you're done with the track, just bounce every sample or save every preset, and then when you're done, you're just gonna look at everything you have and say like, okay, we need a couple of more pads, we need a couple of more bass sounds, and we need maybe a couple of drum one-shot hits included, because there isn't that many included right now. But if you make your full track first and then save everything to patches or samples, you're already gonna have a pretty good basis of the pack done. And then it's just a matter of filling it up with other sounds that are not in the demo track, and, you know, finish the pack that way. But yeah, most of the time they ask for like a full-on demo track that's a full track, so I would advise you to really make that track. And just, you could even take one of your older tracks or one of your unreleased tracks, you know, and just finish that, and then save every sound, save every patch, or save whatever you know, whatever. But you can do that, and you can really just make a pack out of one of your tracks that you've never released. Sorry to bug you as you are of course busy. Feel free to ignore this message, but what would you advise someone such as myself to do looking to start learning? Well, yeah, look at tutorial videos, pretty much. Look at tutorial videos, and if you think, like, I've seen every tutorial video by now and I still am not getting better, then I would probably advise you to look into getting some kind of a tutor, you know, some kind of an educator, somebody that can teach you one-on-one, and really tell you like what you're doing wrong or where you should work on. Because, you know, I can do a tutorial and you can follow that tutorial and learn from that, and that's all fine. You can probably get better that way, but sometimes you just need that little bit of feedback from another fellow producer. And you know, like group chats on Discord, like my own Discord server that you can find the invite link to in the description below this stream, is a good place to start. You can post your stuff there and ask for answers on your questions. You can ask for feedback and get some help from other producers. That's a great place to start. But if you really wanna excel and really wanna get better, then probably private lessons, or, you know, some kind of somebody who can educate you one-on-one is probably going to be the best thing to do, because you're just going to be able to sit down with a person and just, you know, do a lesson with him, send him stuff, and he'll be able to demonstrate you something or show you what you can do to make it better. And it doesn't have to be me, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sell my own lessons to you right now. I would advise you to pick somebody that makes music similar to what you want to make. And if that's drum and bass, then I might be the one to teach you. But if that's dubstep or, you know, another genre, well, dubstep I could probably teach you as well. But if it's like electro house or deep house, I don't make any deep house, so it would probably advise you to pick somebody else to teach you. But I think that's probably your best bet to, well, get better the quickest way possible, because you can really learn what you want to learn. Like, you can tell the guy what you want to know and what you want to get better at, or you can even send him some stuff and he can then tell you like you should work a bit on that, on this or that, and get better at that. And then you can, you know, I or the other educator that you pick could then you know, create a lesson specific for you to really make you, well, help you make something better. So yeah, if you are by any chance interested in lessons, I'm gonna start doing private lessons the start of January, so next year. I'm currently accepting emails from everybody who's interested to just have a little discussion already about what you want to learn, so that I can prepare a little bit of things. And I'm gonna start doing these lessons in January, so that's gonna be pretty soon. And you can send your emails to the email address that I'm gonna be posting in the chat right now. So all the talk about sample packs. If you want to check out my sample packs or preset packs, you can also follow the link in the chat that I've just posted. It's a link to Black Octopus Sound, and it's linking to the page where you can see all my products in one single page. Prices of the lessons are gonna be 50 euros per hour. I've talked to a few different people that were already doing lessons with other producers, and they pretty much all paid more than 50 euros per hour. So I decided to go for 50, sit a little bit below the other people that they are currently doing lessons with. And you know, I just think it's a fair price. For every hour of lessons that I do, I probably need about 30 minutes or maybe even an hour to prepare stuff, you know. So it's not like it's just an hour of work for me, you know. You get an hour of lesson, but for me it might be an hour and a half or 2 hours of work. So but you know, that's just the current price. That might change at some point. I haven't done any lessons so far. Lessons are gonna start coming year. But yeah, if you want to get into that, just send me an email and we'll get in touch and talk about what you want to know. There's always stuff that we can do, and if you can pay it right now, then we might be able to work something out. So if you're interested, just send me an email and we'll talk about it. Let's see. 50 euros is cheap from what I hear. Yeah, you know, it might get more at some point, but I just want to do 50 right now. I mean, I haven't done any lessons so far, you know, so it's not that I have something that I can build upon. I mean, I do have my YouTube channel, and a lot of you guys know that I'm very well capable of teaching you, but you know, probably the first year or so I'll keep it at 50, and maybe after that I'll up the price to 60 or whatever, but it's not going to be much more expensive than 50, don't get me wrong. Kind of depends on how many lessons I get to do as well. But we'll see how it goes in the upcoming year. We've been streaming for 3.5 hours. I think I'm gonna stop streaming. If there's any more questions that you want to ask, then do it right now. There's gonna be another stream tomorrow. Tomorrow 8 PM Central European time, I'm gonna do another stream. I'm probably gonna work on the triplet track that I worked on a few streams back. I haven't worked on that track in like 2 weeks now, so I think we're good to go again, and we're probably going to be a little bit more inspired again on the track. So that's going to be tomorrow, 8 PM Central European time on both my YouTube channel and my Twitch. So if you want to see that, tune in tomorrow again. So, dude, people will flock. Let's hope so. Let's hope that there's going to be a lot of people interested in doing lessons, because let's see. We need, if I can do 6 to 8 hours of lessons a month, then I will be able, then I make, let's see, let me calculate. If I am able to do 6 to 8 hours of lessons a month, then that will be enough to make up for what I currently make with the job that I really hate. So the goal is to be able to quit that job. That's basically my goal, and to be able to sustain at least an additional income, so that I don't have to go work at that job, and that I can finally go full-time music. That's the goal, and I probably need about 6 to 8 hours of lessons a month for that, so it's not much at all. So I think it will work out pretty well. I think it's actually just gonna work out pretty easily. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If there's any questions about anything I did in this stream, let me know right now. If there's you know, anything you want to ask about something, this is the time to do, because I'm going to be stopping the stream in probably a few minutes from now. If you want to be part of the music production server that I just talked about, check out the link in the description below. It is the invite link to my Discord server. I'll be there right after the stream. I'm gonna get a drink and something to eat real quick, and I'll get into the Discord server after that. So if you want to have a little chat, check it out and join. It would be great to see you guys there. The server is growing every day. We're growing pretty rapidly. And with the current developments on my YouTube channel, we might even be able to partner with Discord soon, and that would be great. How do I find other producers to hang with and learn with? Join the Discord server. Mate, there's hundreds of people in my Discord server, and they all make music. So if you wanna find people in your area that make the same kind of music as what I do, or, you know, just be part of a community, join my Discord server. Indeed, I used to run a Skype music production group before I had the Discord server, and it was great. We had a really active Skype group, but Skype was pretty much a pain in the ass to manage, for me at least. It was great for all the members, but it was a pain in the ass to moderate. There were really like no options for me to moderate the chat. There were no groups. Everything was just in one single chat, which was quite messy. Especially, you can imagine, if you have a couple of hundred members, things get messy real quick. Discord server is really great because you can actually create channels. You know, you can create sub-channels on your server. So we have a channel for feedback, we have a channel for music production, we have a channel for sound design, we have a channel where we share drum breaks, we have a channel where people can post tutorials, or where they can post educational stuff. There's a lot of different things that we can do, and it's all a lot more streamlined. Now we also have, for instance, a section that's more aimed at visual art. Like, I like to do a lot of photography, so we have a visual art section where you can post your own artwork, or maybe even find somebody to do artwork for you. Slowly but steadily, we're also getting more representatives of record labels in the Discord server as well. We currently have the representative of Bear Noise's label, which is LA90, I think. He's also in our server, and if you want to send him some stuff, then you can get in touch with him through our server, and he might even check out your stuff when you just post it in the server itself. Who knows? He's always open to listen to demos. That's what he said in the server. So I hope in the upcoming future we can get more of these people in the server as well. It would be great to have more record label people in the server, and hopefully get some people some releases. That would be great. I know from back in my Skype group, we had a few people of record labels in there, and there were a couple of people who actually managed to get their first release on a record label through my Skype group. So, you know, I think places like that is a really good place to be, and especially nowadays, if you want to be good at music production, join music production circles, whether that's on Facebook, on Google, or Google Plus, or whatever there is, if it's like a forum, or the Discord service like the one I run. And that's probably the place where you're gonna, well, learn the most and have the best discussions with people that do the same things as what you do or what you want to do. So yeah, I think that's probably what you want to do. Join the servers, join my Discord server, and check it out. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Tune in tomorrow again for another stream. We're going to be doing the triplet track, and maybe, I think tomorrow is going to be a lot more fireworks aside. Maybe we can actually sample some fireworks. We'll see what happens. Today was a pretty good stream. We've had a good amount of viewers, above 30 viewers all the time, which is pretty good. Better than the last few streams, in fact. So yeah, good job, guys. And I hope to see you back tomorrow. So, see ya. Peace.